Hello everyone. Welcome back. Today we're practicing 200 sentences for shadowing. Listen first, then repeat. Let's begin. I thoroughly thought through the theory. She should have, would have, could have gone earlier. The sixth sheep's sixth shearer sheared carefully. I'm comfortable in this uncomfortable situation. We're particularly interested in peculiar phenomena. The library's open, but the bookshop's closed. I asked him to ask her to ask them. The pronunciation of pronunciation is tricky. She's been being busy for weeks now. The rural juror ruled on the mural. I've never ever seen anything like that whatsoever. The squirrel squirreled away his stash swiftly. We weren't aware that they weren't there. The clothes the cloth was made from clothed him. I literally, figuratively died laughing yesterday. The statistics show that these specific statistics matter. She sells something somewhere, sometimes, somehow. The phenomenon of phenomena fascinates philosophers. I'd have done it if I'd have known sooner. The architect's architecture required quite extraordinary characteristics. We won one once, but not this time. The brewery brewed beer for the brewer's brother. I'm supposed to be opposed to proposals supposedly. The nauseous patient felt nauseated by the odor. She knows no one knows what nobody knows. The kernel's kernel of truth troubled the kernel. I thought I taught you what I thought. The hierarchy's hierarchical structure is quite clear. We're going to have been gone. The conscientious scientist examined her conscience carefully. I neither confirmed nor denied anything whatsoever. The comfortable couch comforted the uncomfortable guest. She's been being a bit difficult recently. The 12th month's weather was unpredictable throughout. I would have, should have, could have been there earlier. The rhythm of the algorithm is quite hypnotic. We're regularly irregular about our regular routine. The yacht's act sailed smoothly through the rough. I'm exhausted from being exhaustive about exhaustion. The February meeting was remarkably memorable. She's especially partial to particularly peculiar parcels. The genuine genius genuinely generated ingenious ideas. We won't do what we weren't doing. The simultaneous simulation simulated reality simultaneously. I'm extraordinarily ordinary at explaining extraordinary things. The anonymous anomaly remained anomalously anonymous. She's consciously unconscious of her subconscious consciousness. The prestigious privilege was privileged by prestigious people. I'm temporarily, permanently settled in temporary accommodation. The sixth thick thistle thicket tickled thoroughly. We're definitely, indefinitely postponing the definite decision. The Worcestershire sauce was authentically inauthentic. She's supposedly supposed to oppose suppositions supposedly. The enthusiasm for enthusiastic enthusiasm is enthusiastically shared. I'm incomprehensibly comprehending incomprehensible comprehension. The 12th month's 5th Thursday threatened thoroughly. We're unquestionably questioning unquestionable questions questionably. The entrepreneur's entrepreneurial endeavors were quite remarkable. I'm simultaneously doing several things simultaneously. The thoroughly thoughtful thinker thought thoroughly. She's been having problems, having conversations. The comfortable discomfort was uncomfortably comfortable somehow. I'm particularly unparticular about particular particulars. The Mediterranean's Mediterranean climate is climatically Mediterranean. We're extraordinarily unextraordinary at extraordinary tasks. The anonymous person anonymously announced their anonymity. I'm relatively absolutely certain about relative absolutes. The conscientious conscience conscientiously guided her consciousness. She's accidentally, deliberately making accidental, deliberate mistakes. The comfortable discomfort zone felt uncomfortably comfortable. I'm purposefully purposeless about my purposeful purposes. The sixth sheep sheepishly sheared the seventh sheep. We're conclusively, inconclusively concluding inconclusive conclusions. The hierarchical hierarchy, hierarchically organized the hierarchy. I'm habitually breaking my habitual habits habitually. The phenomenon phenomenally demonstrated phenomenal phenomena. She's continuously discontinuing continuous discontinuation. The approximately approximate approximation was approximately accurate. I'm intentionally unintentional about intentional intentions. The consciously conscious consciousness consciously became conscious. We're permanently temporarily postponing permanent permanence. The necessarily unnecessary necessity was necessarily needed. I'm exceptionally unexceptional at exceptional exceptions. The literally literal literature was literally literary. She's specifically unspecific about specific specifications. The appropriate inappropriateness was inappropriately appropriate. I'm definitely indefinite about definite definitions. The thoroughly unthinking thinker thought unthinkingly. We're characteristically uncharacteristic about characteristic characteristics. The authentically authentic authentication authenticated authenticity. I'm irregularly regular about regular irregularities. The simultaneously simultaneous simulation simulates simultaneity. She's systematically unsystematic about systematic systems. The particularly unparticularized particular was particularly special. I'm extraordinarily unextraordinary at being extraordinary. The temporarily permanent temperature was permanently temporary. We're consciously, unconsciously doing unconscious things consciously. The completely incomplete completion was incompletely complete. I'm relatively unreliable about reliable relatives. The deliberately accidental accident was accidentally deliberate. She's essentially unessential about essential essentials. The naturally unnatural nature was unnaturally natural. I'm originally unoriginal about original origins. The sixth thistle thickly thrust through threads. We're supposedly supposing supposed suppositions. The technically untechnical technique was technically technical. I'm practically impractical about practical practices. The historically unhistorical history was historically significant. She's professionally unprofessional about professional professionalism. The theoretically untheoretical theory was theoretically sound. I'm logically illogical about logical logic. The absolutely unabsolute absolute was absolutely relative. We're typically untypical about typical typicalities. The fundamentally unfundamental fundamentals were fundamentally important. I'm essentially inessential about essential essences. The primarily unprimary primary was primarily secondary. She's universally non-universal about universal universality. The basically unbasic basics were basically basic. I'm generally ungeneral about general generalizations. The normally abnormal normality was abnormally normal. We're commonly uncommon about common commonalities. The standardly non-standard standard was standardly irregular. I'm ordinarily extraordinary about ordinary ordinariness. The regularly irregular regularity was irregularly regular. She's conventionally unconventional about conventional conventions. The traditionally untraditional tradition was traditionally modern. I'm customarily uncustomary about customary customs. The routinely non-routine routine was routinely exceptional. We're habitually unhabitual about habitual habitualness. The frequently infrequent frequency was frequently rare. I'm consistently inconsistent about consistent consistency. The constantly inconstant constancy was constantly changing. She's perpetually non-perpetual about perpetual perpetuity. The continually discontinual continuity was continually broken. I'm persistently unpersistent about persistent persistence. The endlessly finite endlessness was finitely endless. We're eternally temporal about eternal eternity. The permanently impermanent permanence was impermanently permanent. I'm lastingly unlasting about lasting lastingness. The durably undurable durability was undurably durable. She's stably unstable about stable stability. The steadily unsteady steadiness was unsteadily steady. I'm firmly unfirm about firm firmness. The solidly unsolid solidity was unsolidly solid. We're strongly weak about strong strength. The powerfully powerless power was powerlessly powerful. I'm mightily unmighty about mighty mightiness. The forcefully forceless force was forcelessly forceful. She's vigorously unvigorous about vigorous vigor. The energetically unenergetic energy was unenergetically energetic. I'm actively inactive about active activity. The dynamically undynamic dynamics were undynamically dynamic. We're lively, lifelessly living lively lives. The spiritedly spiritless spirit was spiritlessly spirited. I'm animatedly unanimated about animated animation. The vivaciously unvivacious vivacity was unvivaciously vivacious. She's enthusiastically unenthusiastic about enthusiastic enthusiasm. The zealously unzealous zeal was unzealously zealous. I'm passionately dispassionate about passionate passion. The fervently unfervid fervor was fervidly fervent. We're ardently unardent about ardent ardency. The eagerly uneager eagerness was uneagerly eager. I'm keenly unkeen about keen keenness. The avidly unavid avidity was unavidly avid. She's intensely unintense about intense intensity. The strongly weak weakness was weakly strong. I'm thoroughly unthinking about thoughtful thoughts. The completely incomplete incompleteness was incompletely complete. We're entirely unentire about entire entirety. The totally untotal totality was untotally total. I'm wholly unwhole about whole wholeness. The fully unfull fullness was unfully full. She's utterly unutterably uttering utter utterances. The absolutely unabsolute absoluteness was unabsolutely absolute. I'm perfectly imperfect about perfect perfection. The ideally unideal ideality was unideally ideal. We're flawlessly flawed about flawless flawlessness. The faultlessly faulty faultlessness was faultily faultless. I'm immaculately immaculate about immaculate immaculacy. The impeccably peccable impeccability was peccably impeccable. She's spotlessly spotted about spotless spotlessness. The pristinely unpristine pristineness was unpristinely pristine. I'm purely impure about pure purity. The cleanly unclean cleanliness was uncleanly clean. We're clearly unclear about clear clarity. The obviously unobvious obviousness was unobviously obvious. I'm evidently unevident about evident evidence. The apparently unapparent apparentness was unapparently apparent. She's plainly unplain about plain plainness. The distinctly indistinct distinctness was indistinctly distinct. Excellent work today. You've practiced 200 challenging sentences. These help you master difficult patterns. Keep practicing every day. See you next time. Goodbye.
Pronounce faster.